origination probability is something I want to introduce here, right? Origination probability is what is the probability for the origin of life. Now the origination probability, if it's 0, that means life is what? Impossible. If it's 1, what does it mean? It's going to happen all the time. Okay. If it's 50, what does it mean? If it's 0.5, what does it mean? It can happen, it's 50% chance, whatever. Okay. What they've done is they've set, it's a presupposition, it's an axiom, it's an assumption, unverified assumption, that the origination probability is close to 0. That's there. Obviously Lamarck didn't believe in that, the ancient Indus Valley civilization theorists didn't believe in that, others didn't believe in that, the Greeks didn't believe in that. Yes, that's an excellent question. So I think there's two different things you've asked there about whether it can happen now, and one is about how did they assess that based on initial conditions. And the first thing to note is this first cell that they propose happened about 4 billion years ago. So the initial conditions, and especially at the time of Darwin, they didn't even know how old the Earth actually was. You know, the dates were still off by a huge margin. So it wasn't to do with them coming up with the origination probability based upon the initial conditions, because they didn't know what the initial conditions are, and even today we actually don't. So they assumed that the conditions are very rare, because if something comes into being and that thing is like, for example, Darwin believed that this first cell must have been very simple, but what we discovered was actually, you know, the Francis Crick and Watson and, you know, the double helix DNA, all that good stuff. What we found throughout the 20th century as we looked deeper and deeper and deeper is that there was immense complexity. You know, you could describe the first cell, right, not as flagellum, as what Darwin thought it was. You could describe the first cell as London at 9:08 p.m, right? So you'll have trains, buses, businesses, people going out in takeaways, people moving around, people holding classes, some guy getting shanked. Yeah, that you'll get a buzzing, lively London rather than flagellum. You'll get that. So the first cell is immensely complex, and that doesn't obviously fit. That doesn't obviously fit their ideas. So what we find is that if the origination probability is higher, there's a few problems. Number one, this for them reeks of creationism. This for them is something which is going to reintroduce God. Wait, if we're getting these things popping up, there might be a God, there might be this, there might be that. So they have to, and in Dawkins' word, what he calls it in the God delusion, we just need the first stroke of luck. The first stroke of luck, and then we'll explain the rest. The way that one theorist put it, and I found this hilarious. I tried it with this this atheist who was having a debate with. I said essentially, look, their argument is, give us one miracle and we'll explain the rest. That's essentially what they're saying. Just give us that one miracle, we'll explain the rest. But we're saying, no, we're not going to give you the first miracle. So the origination probability being close to 0 is very problematic. Now, what they tried to do some decades ago is they tried to actually reverse engineer the conclusion and say, we're going to show that the initial conditions were so and so, so therefore this initial self-replicating molecule could actually come.